Welcome to our Mosaic coaster tutorial. So we're going to start by gluing on all our tiles in our pattern onto our poster blank. And the best way to start this is by putting your 4 corner tiles in as a kind of guide to help you line up the rest of the tiles. So I normally just put a little bit of glue on each corner. And this kind of glue pot's really handy for just putting it straight on. And then I'm going to pop on my tiles. Now push them right to the edges so that they're kind of lined up with the sides. We don't want like a massive gap like that or anything, so you want to push them right to the edges and onto each corner. Once you have your corner ones in place, you're going to fill in the outside edges first. So just pop a little bit of glue. Add 5 more tiles in between each, so you've got 7 in total, and just make sure that they're kind of evenly spaced. Now this PVA doesn't dry too quickly, so you've got a bit of time to move them about if you need to. So once you've got your outside all sorted, you're going to start on your centre, and I'm just going to draw a circle with my glue. Now don't worry, it's not a perfect circle. And then see these kind of middle tiles you have in the center of your 7 edge tiles. So you've got 7 on each edge and it's the center one. We're going to put a tile directly in front of each of them, and your spacing is roughly the same as kind of your outside ones. So I'm just popping one on each of there, and this again just helps us to kind of line up our tiles. Perfect. Once you're happy with that, you're going to add 2 more tiles in between to kind of make your circle. And then I'm going to pop a tile in each of the corners. So once you're happy with that, the next thing to do is to fill in your centre. So normally I just put a little dab of glue, just make sure I've got plenty in there. And I'm going to put one of my small tiles right in the centre. That's about right. And then round that, maybe move it over a wee bit. I'm going to put 5 tiles in a small circle, going all the way round. And then round again, round the outside of that, I'm going to put 9 tiles. So I've left my coasters to dry overnight, and all the tiles are fully stuck down now. You can see none of the glue anymore, so that means that they're ready to grout. So I'll pop these to one side just now, and you can see I've popped down a little bit of greaseproof paper just to protect my surface. And I've divided my grout into 3 cups. Now I'm using paper cups, but you could use old Tupperware, something from the recycling, I don't know, an old soup pot, something like that. But make sure it's something you're not going to need again. And I've added my pigment to each of the containers as well. So I've got 40 grams of grout and then all of my pigment, 1 in each cup. So you've got something that looks a bit like this. So now we need to pop on some gloves. Now that's important just to protect your skin. And we're going to add our water, which is 12 millilitres of water to each cup. Now I've got a little half tablespoon it is. Yeah, half tablespoon measure here, so that's a 7.5. So I'm just going to add 1.5 of these to start with. Now the rule with all these things is you can always add more water, you can't take it away. So add just a little to start and see how you get on. So let's just start mixing it together. So the consistency you kind of want is a smooth peanut butter. So this is actually looking really good. Another wee tip as well, I didn't do it there, but is to combine your dry ingredients first. And that just kind of helps you stop getting white patches as well. So on this one I'll do it. Combine my dry ingredients as well. into each of my other tubs, my 12mm, so 1.5 these little guys. So once all of your grouts are fully mixed, we're gonna grout our tiles. So grab one of your tiles and then grab your mixture. And basically what you're doing is spreading the grout all over the tiles. You want to push it down so it gets into these bits at the bottom here. Work your way across the tile, spreading it in. Just kind of feel like you're spreading something on toast. And just make sure you're getting it pushed all in amongst the tiles. So that's looking pretty good. Now just scrape off any massive amounts of excess. You can leave some on the tiles, don't worry too much about that, but if you've got any big blobs, you might want to smooth them off at this stage. And now we're just going to leave that to dry for 20 minutes before we clean off a bit of the top. Okay, so these have been sitting for about 20 minutes, this one especially. I'm just going to start by taking some kitchen roll, some kitchen towel, and lightly, so don't gouge or anything like that, I'm going to wipe away any excess grout off the top of the tiles. So just, you can see, just like that. That's probably looking quite good. So before we let it dry fully, I'm just going to touch up my edges. So I've still got my pot of grout here. And it's setting a little, but I think it should still be okay. And see any of the edges that are a wee bit kind of raw? I'm just going to go around and smooth off the edges of my coaster. Kind of like icing a cake a wee bit, it feels. In this corner, edge to say. So my sides are nice as well, that looks quite good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this aside to dry for about an hour, and then we will come back and finish just cleaning it up. And in the meantime, I'm just going to carry on doing these ones. So I'm going to just use, I've got an old craft sponge here, this is just one that I keep for using on craft projects, because you don't want to use one that you're going to use again. And I'm just going to wipe my tiles and get off any excess residue from the grout. So I'm just lightly wiping the tiles and making sure they're all nice and clean. And you'll notice your grout's still slightly wet, so it's easy to kind of wipe off. These will be fully dry in just a couple of days and ready to be placed proud of place on your coffee table. If you've enjoyed making these coasters with us, share your projects with us on Instagram and Facebook at the Edinburgh Craft Club.